here for you, and we will have to make some comments and take questions.
All right, guys, great to see you again. It's been a while. You know, what a great day to be a Trojan. I'm going to tell you, it was a terrific day, and so pleased to be able to introduce 20 new members to our Trojan family. It was a great day today. It started off with a great day because there's 7 midterm young men that are already here being developed, and that left us 13 young men left to sign on the day. As a head coach, you hope you go into the day and you have your commitments and you end the day and nobody flips, nobody goes everywhere. I was so proud of the young men that were committed to USC. They understood how special USC was, and it was something that they knew in their heart that they wanted to be Trojans. Every young man that started the day committed today became a Trojan. Now, obviously, that leaves you with the signing day battles that are still left out there. As a head coach, I cannot tell you how proud I am of the staff, of how they finished and how they closed. This is a terrific recruiting staff, and there was several battles that were had late into the night and early into the morning, and obviously with some great results. I'm very, very proud, very proud of the 20 young men that we signed to be able to sign what several services are calling a top 10 class. I've always thought that when you have only 20 scholarships, not only do you look at where you finish total rank, but make sure you finish with great quality. And it was really neat to see on several services them saying that we were a top 5 average ranked staff by player, by stars. I'm also very proud of the brand that we are spreading across the country. You look at the states that were represented with these signees: Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and then our own West Coast with California and Arizona. 6 different states represented, spread across the country. That's one of the things that I have seen over the last 6 years of what's going on. When you have young men like Leonard Williams and Nelson Aguilar and Nikel Roby and Buck Allen coming to the university from so far away to get a quality, unbelievable education, but also being able to play the most elite standard of football there is out there, that combination is extremely special. And I think that reputation of those guys having success both on and off the field is really spreading. And I thought it was a really key to our success today. I'm very excited to say defensively, we thought it all started in the defensive line and really captured, I thought, 4 tremendous pass rushers in Wale Batico, Connor Murphy, Liam Jennings, and Josh Fatu. These young men, you know, our league is a passing league, and you have to be able to get to the quarterback. We really felt that these men were elite about putting pressure when we evaluated on film, getting to the quarterback, and it's something we dearly needed. We combined that with what we thought was an elite linebacker from the island of Hawaii in Jordan Iosefa. Defensive back-wise, we wanted to be able to add a couple corners and a couple safeties. At the corners positions, you know, you go get a dynamic player in Jack Jones, and then you also bring Keyshawn Young, who is a really terrific athlete out of the state of Florida that can not only be a defensive back, but a wide receiver. Jameel Cook is one of the hardest hitting young men that I've seen in a long time. He reminds me a lot of T.J. McDonald, and his length, his range to be able to cover the field was something that really jumped out on us on film. C.J. Pollard, we really felt was one of the more instinctive football players that we had seen all year. It's so great to have him already here as a midterm player and carrying on the tradition in his family for years to come. On the offensive side, obviously it starts with the offensive line. And to go to the state of Georgia and pull E.J. Price out of the state, one of the premier tackles in the country, I thought was a statement, one of how powerful a university USC is. And I really thought with E.J., it was something that I was very proud of him to recognize what a USC education means for him in the future and what he wanted to do both on and off the field. And then to add two local young men, Frank Martin and Nathan Smith, who we have had committed for a long, long time, be a part of us and really come on board to help us. We're excited about that. At the QB position, Matt Fink is already with us, is here in the spring, graduated early. We were very impressed with Matt throughout the season with what he did at Glendora High School. We always say our quarterbacks, we want to be throwers first. And one of the things that he displayed not only through the season, but in our camps was the ability to be an elite thrower and develop into an elite thrower. He just happens to be a terrific athlete as well, and to be able to create. It's a dynamic that we really appreciated in watching his film. Next one's near and dear to my heart, running back 5 Mile Pay. He is from the great island of Hawaii. A young man that came late in the recruiting process, came on a visit to us and really saw how special it was to be part of the Trojan family and how powerful an education is from USC. We are so proud to have him in our family. I think he is dynamic not only as a runner, but what really stood out to us is his ability to route run in the passing game and the terrific ball skills that he has. He is not only an elite runner, but he is an elite receiver out of the backfield. We bring tremendous size to the tight end position with 6'6" Kerry Angeline. As a route runner and a huge target for a quarterback, we thought that he had a unique strength in being able to make plays down the field, especially from the flex position. He was able to not only put his hand on the ground, but be flexed out and to be able to show that dynamic. Both those things we thought was extremely intriguing, and we're very, very glad to have him here. The wideout core that was signed, I think has to be one of the tops in the country. I think sometimes as a head football coach and a staff, you have to look not only for the season coming up, but you also have to see what's going on in the future. And with the dynamic of us possibly losing several young men after this season and how special a group this class was, we really felt that we needed to load up. And, when you look at Josh Inamor-Debebe, Michael Pittman, Tyler Vaughns, Velus Jones, and Trayvon Sidney, you're talking about the best of the best in the country. This group is going to be a great legacy here at USC and provide tremendous explosion, not only down the field, but what I was impressed with each one of them is their ability to make yards after the catch. That's what stood out to me with each one of these individuals. Very, very proud to welcome these young men into the Trojan family. It was a long process, but one that ended up terrific for us. And I am very pleased not only with them, but I'm very proud of what our staff did throughout the recruiting process. With that, I feel free to ask any questions that you have.
Clay, obviously not your first time recruiting, but your first time as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
How different was the process? And then the night before,
Yeah.
the coaching set the spot. What kind of pressure and what did that feel like?
Well, the great thing for me, and I think the advantage I had, there were some advantages and disadvantages. The one advantage I had here is I've been here 6 years. It's not like a new head coach walking in. You knew exactly what you needed personnel-wise, and to be able to fill those needs, I think, is extremely important. The other thing that you have the advantage of is you've established relationships. You've been here 6 years. You've had these relationships. You've known these kids from their freshman, their sophomore, now growing into their senior year. The disadvantage was a little bit of, being an interim head coach and, not knowing exactly what's going on for a recruit and then being named right after the UCLA game, having those relationships and then having to go full force. I was really thankful for the staff that was here. We kept working through the season, not knowing what our fate was, and you look up today and it really paid off. We kept those relationships throughout the season. We did our job for USC, and then once named the head coach, it made it extremely easy to be able to finish off today some real battles that were across the country. I think, as always, relationships are key in recruiting, and those relationships paid off today with a great class. Yes?
Last few years, you finished off really strong
Mhm.
on signing day. Last couple of years, a lot of local guys.
Mhm.
Today, a lot of out-of-state, but
Mhm.
any anxiety or butterflies knowing that a lot of these guys are really far away from campus?
Yeah, no question. I think that, if you want to be the best, I think you got to sign the best. And sometimes that you have to take those gambles. When you look at the elite players that came from Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Pennsylvania, they are far away. But we felt like it was maybe one of two, one of three schools. And not only was it worth the fight because of their talent, but we really felt like there was a special relationship with those young men, and they understood the power of USC. We weren't just grasping at straws. We felt that we were in the lead, or it was 50-50 in each one of those situations. And as we looked up, it was an extremely successful day in those states.
Figured out how many miles you flew?
No, I haven't. I know that I've been to Hawaii. I've been to Pennsylvania, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, New Jersey, and everywhere in between. It's been a great journey. For me, it's a lot of fun, to be honest with you. One of the best parts of this job is the relationship part of it. It's why I'm in college football. Is you get to meet moms and dads. You get to build that relationship, and a mom and dad entrusting you with their son. That's pretty special, and to sit in their home and to be able to bring them from 3,000 miles away or from just down the street, and then put that trust in you, your staff, and this university. That's a lot of fun, and that's a great honor. Yes.
Coach, you guys didn't have a championship season, but you're still able to close with 5 guys from out of state today.
Mhm.
How does that happen? How would you describe
I think two things. You got to remember, this is a terrific product that we have. USC, when you're talking about a private school education, that's one of the top 25 educations in the world. And you look up and you've got a university that's won 11 national championships, has more draft picks than any other school in the history of college football. That's a rare dynamic, to have the education along with the elite athletics. The other thing is, I have to commend this staff. I can't tell you how hard they worked down the stretch. It was tireless. It was relentless, and they just wouldn't take no for an answer. You're not going to win every battle, but I'm going to tell you what. We looked up today, and we were so pleased with how we finished. We won the majority of them, and are very pleased with that.
How do you think the class kind of shifted as your staff was coming together? Some of the guys you may have led for beforehand dropped off, and there was some new offers that came about that you were able to pick up.
Yeah, I think one of the things that happened as you're putting it was really important to me to put the best staff together, and guys that could not only coach the position extremely well, but also could build relationships in recruiting. And that dynamic, I think, really paid off for us, with the men that came on board for us as a coaching staff. Not only did they provide experience in some cases, if you look at our staff, but also some very youthful energy. And I think that combination of the two, and the team recruiting that we do, it's just not one coach recruiting one kid. We don't care who signs who. We are a team recruiting bunch. At the end of the day, it's about USC being successful. And I think that dynamic and kids seeing that family atmosphere between the coaching staff, our wives, our children, our players, I think that's what sold them.
Did you see the Jack Jones Snoop Dogg video?
I did. I thought it was absolutely awesome. It's amazing to me how creative it gets every year. You got to remember, I've been a skill coach my whole life for 21 years, so I've been used to dealing with running backs and wideouts and quarterbacks, and it gets more fun with each year and more dynamic. So thanks to Snoop to be able to help Jack out. I thought it was absolutely awesome.
Are there a few guys you're expected to step in from day one and contribute?
Well, one of the great things, and it's one of the great sales that we have here, and look up this number for me, but I believe I've been here 6 years, and I think we've had 15 freshmen All-American. I think that's the number, but look that up. I think it's a very, very special place, because what we do is the best player plays. And I think recruits and players here understand that USC is always about competition. And the best player is gonna go out there and play if he can help us win a championship. And it doesn't matter if you're a freshman, right, like Robert Woods and Marquise Lee and Cam Smith, or if you're a senior or an older guy like Sua Craven out there making plays. The best man plays. So you don't have a crystal ball, but the neat thing is you are going to throw them in that first string huddle, and you're going to see how they react. And if they're the best player, they're going to stay in there.
You talking about competition,
Mm-hmm.
playing Alabama and Stanford in your first 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Does that impact kids that are coming in as freshmen at this level? Do they think, wow,
Well, they really see the schedule as exciting. It was really neat to go through the recruiting process and guys say, Coach, I can't wait to get to Dallas. I can't wait to have the opportunity, to be a part of that special game with Alabama. I can't wait to have the opportunity to play a great rivalry game like Notre Dame. And then to be a part of a Pac-12 schedule. I mean, how fun is that? Not only is it the toughest schedule in the country, but it's what you want to be. It's why you come to USC. You came here to be the best, and you know coming in you're going to play the best.
How much scrambling did you do today in terms of Josh projects that he got offered this morning?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to pull scholarships and then they open up and you offer somebody else.
Yeah, you always have a list of names as you go through. You always have a list of names that you always have backup plans that you go through and you say, wow, what a terrific player. There's so many great players in the country. The problem is I only have 20 scholarships going into the day, So I think as a head football coach, you always have to have plan after plan after plan after plan, because at the end of the day, you want to have the 20 best players for your football team. And, and if you don't have an organized plan, I think you're going to fail in the long run. I look up at this class, a top 10 class with, 20 scholarships, not 25. It was a very successful day.
Would you rather, looking to the future, blue shirting, maybe not give out so many?
No, you're still allowed to blue shirt. You're able to, if you're not at the 85 number, you're able to still do that. You're only allowed to sign 25 initials, and because of the 5 blue shirts we had last year, that only enabled us to have 20 midterm and February signees. So that's how we get to the 20 number.
so where does this take you total scholarships toward the 85?
We're going to be slightly over 80, Dan. I think we're going to be right in the, at the end of the day, probably in the 82 range, right at there. We're not going to get all the way to 85, but I think with the next class, we'll be at 85 for the first time in a while.
Is there, obviously a lot of guys are listed as wide receivers, and potential for any of those guys to play defensive back?
Well, you look like at a Keyshawn Young, and you look at his dynamic of not only being a wide receiver but a DB. We really feel like he could play either side of the ball and can be a great DB. And then you look at Jack, who's one of the most elite DBs that are out there, and he's also can come over like Adoree does to be able to do that. So those 2 young men are very special to us because of how good of athletes they are. When I look at the other 4 young men, in Josh and Michael and Tyler and Velas, I really see them as wide receivers coming in. But that dynamic of Jack, I think he reminds me a lot of Adoree. And Keyshawn Young, I think, is a dynamic athlete to be able to do either. I think they can help us there.
So with Jack, will you guys give him reps on both sides right from the start, or?
Yeah, he's so special. He reminds us of Adoree. You sit him down and you visit with him and you say, hey, where are you most comfortable at right now? In his future, I really think he's going to be so special at the DB position, just like Adoree is. But, when you look at him as a returner, when you look at him as a guy that when he touches the ball, he's so dynamic, he can help you on both sides. At some point in time, you're going to lose an Adoree Jackson. And thank goodness Jack is here,
Anything else for Clay?
All righty, guys. Thank you so much. Take care.